Hello and welcome to a fresh episode of Soccer Talk with Mumini Alao. My name is Tunde Kweki, of course, your regular anchor. And with me, as always, is Mumini Alao himself. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much today, and thank you very much, viewers.
Interesting topic we have to discuss today. Francesco Totti retired after 25 years as a professional footballer with AS Roma. Some have described him as a legend. That's still debatable. We'll come back to that. But the stats speak for himself. 615 games, I think. 619 games for AS Roma. 250 goals. The second most number of goals in the Italian Serie A. The youngest ever Serie A captain. That is a record. So many. One Italian Serie A title. Two Coppa, Super Cup, Italian Cup titles. One FIFA World Cup. He played for one club for 25 years, which is a rarity in modern football.
Absolutely, and I think today that's why some people call him a legend, even though he didn't win so many trophies. A friend of mine gave me one proverb. He said, if you urinate on one spot, it will foam.
I've heard that before.
But if you urinate all over the place, everything will just dry up. Okay? So you can say Totti's record is foaming. Yeah. Because he was urinating in one spot, which is one club. So I agree with you. It's going to be very, very rare going forward, seeing players who will turn out to be one club man, because of the money being thrown around now. But we've had quite a number of them in the past. I mean, like Steven Gerrard, his story was very famous.
He did go to LA Galaxy, so maybe he might.
So many of them, Yeah. So when you now have a few of them who stick to one club,
despite
ups and downs,
despite the years of money and everything.
I think even that itself is recognizable. That itself should be rewarded by the fans and say, look, this guy stood by this club through thick and thin. When everything was good, he was with us. When things were bad, he didn't leave us. Of course, he qualifies to be a legend.
Some have argued that maybe it's a lack of ambition on the part of the player, because for many years, people like Real Madrid consistently hunted him down, asked him to name his price, but he wouldn't go anywhere. Some have also argued maybe some players also tend to be a bit homesick when they're away from their comfort zone.
That's another angle. But you see, every issue will come up with different perspectives. Some people will be right to say, okay, lack of ambition. But if you talk to Totti himself, he might have some other personal reasons why he decided not to leave Roma. Okay, it could be for family reasons. It could be for other, emotional.
Yes.
Okay, and for him, he could say, look, life is not all about money. Okay,
true.
I'm just happy to serve this club, my people.
Which is surprising in modern football.
I mean, for God's sake, these are human beings, okay, and they are allowed to have some emotions. So there are a number of players like that. I'm sure you also recall the story of Paolo Maldini, who played for
AC Milan.
20 years for AC Milan, because his father, Cesare Maldini, also played for that club. So those kind of
emotional attachments,
attachment is always there. So for me, if I see such players who stand by one club, through thick and thin, I think I also want to salute them. And if their fans says they are legends, they are legends.
I agree.
And in the case of Totti, beyond staying with Roma for so long, Tunde, of course, you will agree with me that he was one of the best players to come out of Italy.
Absolutely.
During his generation.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there is no debate, no argument about that.
No,
okay?
no.
In terms of skill, natural skills,
ability.
Totti was one of the best to come out of Italy. So I think I will accept him as a legend.
Okay. But let's move from one player who is already a bona fide legend to another one who is aspiring to be a legend. Obviously, the standout player in Europe this season, Kylian Mbappe, the most wanted man in world football. Also, the player touted to be the first man who will probably break the £100 million barrier. Just 18 years of old, 15 goals in the French Championnat for AS Monaco. Brilliant performance. Everybody wants this boy, but he doesn't know what to do. And they say the price of success is things like this, where your head has been turned. The likes of Real Madrid want you, Barcelona want you, Liverpool want you. What does a Kylian Mbappe do?
Well, I'm sure, I don't think Monaco will be able to keep hold of him. Because
already they can't keep a hold of a lot of their players. Bernardo Silva is gone. Because the left fullback is going as well. A lot of them are going. So
because the French league, even though it's one of the top 4 in Europe, is actually the number 4.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to
not as attractive as the Bundesliga.
So naturally, you expect that eventually he will leave. Let me digress a little bit. That's why sometimes when I see when I see Nigerian fans complaining that the Super Eagles is dominated by foreign-based players. I say, look at France. How many players who play in France get to play for the France national team?
That's a very true.
Most of their players also play abroad. Okay, but because they are all in Europe, we don't really take notice of that fact. Okay, so everybody is looking to play at a higher level. So for Nigerians, the higher level is Europe. For French players who will play in the French league, the higher level is to go to England, to go to Spain, to go to probably Germany as well. Okay, so that's why I said Monaco will not be able to keep hold of him. Okay, and where does he go? To be honest, I'm not his manager.
No. I mean, for a boy who played phenomenally well last season, we all know his talents, we all know his ability. He cannot go to a club where he'll be sitting on the bench and you start regarding him as a backup. At the age of 18, he's shown that he has the ability to play at the highest level of football.
So if he goes,
but there's no guarantee if he goes
for the money. There is a risk that he will sit on the bench.
True.
Don't forget what happened to James
Rodriguez, yes,
who was one of the stars at the last World Cup in Brazil, and then Real Madrid got him. But of course, there was no way he was going to put Ronaldo, Benzema on the bench. So, in spite of everything that he came with, he had to be sitting on the bench. So, Mbappe stands that risk if he goes for the money.
Yeah, another French youngster, Anthony Martial, also made the same move.
Yeah,
was
Manchester
United. Yeah, hasn't exactly nailed that first team spot.
Exactly. So you can't guarantee anything because, as I said, you are going to a higher level now. I mean, the kind of freedom that he enjoyed in Ligue 1, he won't get that kind of freedom in the Premiership, for example. Okay, we've seen quite a number of players who moved up and then they couldn't demonstrate
the same level
of competence or performance, or in fact, the number of goals that they delivered that attracted the bigger club to call them in. So you really cannot predict anything. So if you ask me to advise Mbappe, I would say go for the money.
The money.
That's the one that you can guarantee. Okay, that's the one you can guarantee.
The money you get, the playing time,
it will be a risk. Okay, but of course, if he goes for the smaller clubs, he will be guaranteed playing time.
Smaller clubs,
relatively smaller clubs. I mean,
he will definitely get starting shot at Liverpool.
Okay. But then you ask yourself, how long is a footballer's career? So, and that's why the money becomes an issue.
Quick question: is he a fluke? From what you've seen of him,
Tunde, it is hard to tell. Very, very hard to tell.
18, we've seen Monaco
scored more than 100 goals in the last season.
Yes,
for in Ligue 1. And that tells you a lot about the kind of defenses that they have in the French league. You could say Barcelona also scored more than 100 goals, in Spain. So maybe that also says something about the quality of the defense in the Spanish league.
But he played in the UEFA Champions League, scored 5 goals.
But what I'm trying to say exactly is, apart from Monaco, how many French clubs advanced in the European Champions League?
None.
Okay, so obviously, there's a big gap in terms of quality.
Well, Monaco advanced further than
other ones. Okay, so you could say that is a plus for Mbappe. But whether he will be able to replicate that kind of performance that he had in Ligue 1 in the bigger league, we'll have to wait to find out.
Time will tell. And we've seen so many youngsters come so quickly,
we have to wait to find out.
So brightly, and fizzle out before they
our own Ahmed Musa was shining brightly in Russia.
Yeah.
And then he got to the Premier League, and all of a sudden, you can't find a place.
Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been entertaining as always. Join us again for another edition of Soccer Talk with Mumini Alao when it comes your way. My name is Cindy Koike. Have a pleasant day.